Hi guys, Miranda Canuck here. I am just putting up your video here for chapter 6 for our 6th week of class, or I guess 5th week that we have been doing this customer service management course. I hope you guys are enjoying it and learning something from it. So this week's definitely a little bit different topic to what we've talked about so far, but looking forward to it. Before we get into it, though, I just want to thank you guys for getting your Serving It Right exams completed. Last one is just getting done. And as well, some of you have already started your WHMIS exam, so the hazardous material exam. So these courses are very beneficial for you to have on your resume, and they have a fairly long expiry date. So they'll be very beneficial for you in the job market. So you need to have this WHMIS exam done by next Wednesday. You have an email from Lonnie, but after you complete the exam, you do need to send me a copy of your certificate so I know that you've completed it. If you have any problems with logging in, you can email Lonnie, but I need a copy of your exam once you've completed it. Our next one that we have to complete is Food Safe. This is going to be the most challenging one because of some of the restraints with it. We cannot write it as an online exam. It has to be invigilated in person. So I will need you guys, if you're writing the exam with me at the as part of the course, to come to the college to write the exam. We're doing up a plan with the college right now. They need a written plan of, how we're keeping everybody safe and protocols for coming into the college. As well, we can only fit 8 of you per session in the computer lab. So we won't be able to fit everybody in there to do it all at once. So we have a number of time options that I've requested from the college, and we're just waiting to figure out if they will work. But I'm looking at October 21st, October 26th, and October 27th. And we'll have a few hours throughout the day, those days, to write the exam. So you need 1 hour minimum, probably about an hour and a half by the time everyone gets signed in and out of the college, in order to write that exam. And it does need to be done at the college. So just beware with your work or schedules that this is coming up, but we're still waiting on the plan and the booking from the college for the computer labs. Again, a few of you have asked to write it online. It cannot be done online. It must be done in person. A number of you are not in Prince George. I've received a few emails about that, and you are welcome to pay to write it in whatever city you're in. I've sent a link to a few of you with the different online or the different places that are offering the course around British Columbia. So you are welcome to go ahead and pay to write it where you are and send me the certificate afterwards. It'll be a lot cheaper for you to do that than to come to Prince George to write the exam. So and hopefully you're saving money wherever you're at. Yeah, so I do apologize that it does need to be done in person. That's just the nature of the course, and there's nothing I can do about it. But all right, so we've got Serving It Right done. We're working on WHMIS this week. It'll be due before class next Wednesday, and I just want you to have on your radar that we're going to be doing this Food Safe exam, and it has to be done by October 28th as the latest date. So we're just working on some times in the computer lab and a management plan for bringing you guys onto campus. It'll probably include you guys wearing masks and sanitizing and that kind of thing before we come into the lab space there. So I'll have you guys sign up for different times once we have the times available from the lab. So if you already have Food Safe, please let me know, because that will affect how many time slots that I need. Or if you're not in Prince George and you're not coming in to write the exam with us, please let me know so that I also can account for that. Good. All right, let's move on. I hopefully get this done in 2 15-minute slots, so 30 minutes, and your lecture is done, and you can move on to your assignment. So I'm just going to the start of the chapter here, so I can follow along with my own presentation. So, just as an introduction to research, in this market, in the tourism and hospitality market, it's different than it is in some other industries, but it's very some people consider it costly and time consuming. Oftentimes it's only the major hotels or larger companies that are doing this research. The contributions to the day-to-day operations of a business can sometimes be overlooked, so there is great benefit in doing market research, but it is difficult for some companies to understand that. The results, we'll learn at the end of this chapter, are often ignored or not fully considered. A lot of managers just don't want to hear it, or the implementation is just too difficult. So anyways, there are 8 categories where we can group the research into for doing this market research in the hospitality and tourism industry. So the first group is the research on consumers. So the identifying existing markets, identifying potential markets. You're identifying lapsed consumers that haven't come back again. You're testing customer loyalty. You're developing detailed customer profiles, understanding who your customer is for your business. Identifying trends and demographics, identifying changes in attitude and behaviors. That's very important because that does change with companies as time changes. Identify changes in attitudes and behavior patterns. So the next type of research that can be done is research on products and services. You can measure the attitude towards an existing product or service. You can identify potential new products, which might be at the end of their life cycle. So, if you're bringing a new product into a company when something else is ending. Identifying products that are considered acceptable substitutes or alternatives. Evaluating competitors' products. Evaluating consumers' attitude towards decor, presentation, packaging. So that's a bit of the products that they offer on site. Evaluating customer attitudes about combinations of products and services. Another type of research you can do is research on pricing. So identifying attitudes towards prices. Often changes for hotels, what clients are willing to pay for certain types of rooms, and it depends on the competition in the area and the offerings at the hotel, right? Testing attitudes towards packages, individual pricing, identifying costs, costing policies of competitors, testing alternative pricing strategies, and testing payment processes. So whether people want to pay ahead of time or they want to pay on site with credit card or e-transfer. So we can also do research on place and distribution. So, where the hotel or the business is located, their client's attitude towards it. Identifying attitudes towards the building and how it looks. Attitudes on virtual sites. Identifying potential demand for products or services at other locations. Identifying cooperative opportunities for distribution of information of services or services. So there's a lot of research that we can do on identifying those types of things when we're talking about the place or how we're distributing a product. So there's research on different promotions. Are we testing and comparing media options for how they're getting to our clients? Are we using the right types of media to address the right type of client that we're looking for? Testing alternative messages, testing competitors' messages and their effectiveness, testing new communication options, identifying cooperative opportunities, measuring advertising and promotion effectiveness. So we also can do research on the competition. They talk about this repeatedly through the chapter, different hotel chains going and trying out different competitors in the area, or one talked about going to a Ritz-Carlton and comparing their tiny little hotel to that and making a more individualized experience that would be comparable to the Ritz-Carlton. That was a great example of how to do research on the competition. We can also research the operating environment, so the economic trends, the social trends, environmental issues, political climate and trends, technological development and their impact. So research on the operating environment is very important if we think of a place like Prince George, where we have a lot of dependency on the mining and the forestry sectors, and that impacts how some of these tourism companies and hospitality companies are going to be successful. So we have to make sure that we're looking at that as well when we're looking at doing research for a company. So there's also research on the destination, measuring residents' attitudes towards the destination, benchmarking, measuring customer loyalty, identifying tourism activities, identifying spending patterns, and branding research. I love this graphic. It just details everything to do with, beginning to end, when customers are trying to decide where to go, where to stay, and what influences their opinions about it. So this is a great table, and definitely take that away and remember some of those types of things that managers or companies need to look at when they're trying to have a successful company in this industry. So consumer research is very important. It's of particular interest to the study of customer service, and it's important for measuring customer loyalty. So they have a net promoter score. How likely are you to recommend us to a friend? That net promoter score is very indicative of a successful company. So having a strong net promoter score is going to ensure the success of the company. An example in the textbook is JetBlue Airways. They use this, and they use employ another company in order to identify these and make sure that they're having the proper levels of customer satisfaction in order to stay ahead in the industry. So customer intelligence, another important type of applied research. It's available through a lot of different sources. Benchmarking is a common practice in the industry, making sure that you're kind of staying on par with all the different companies. It might include guest satisfaction scores. Restaurants are also using it, as do attractions or places like Disney, theme parks, that kind of thing. They give us an example in the textbook of competitive benchmarking in the fast food restaurants. They look at the different criteria that people are looking at when they're assessing what they want to experience. We have a lot of different alternatives with McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Subway, Arby's. We don't even have a Prince George anymore. No, we don't. And I don't even know what Hardee's is. But, when we have all of these alternatives, we've got to have, good attributes that make us want to go to them. So these companies are looking at all of these different factors when they're looking at ensuring they have a quality product. We talked a bit about the GAPS model in a previous chapter. I think it was chapter 3 of service quality, and where those gaps are for clients and how to close those gaps. And the main one being this number 5 gap, where we have to get from that expected level of service to their perceived level of service. So at the end of the day, what they think they got has to be close to what they expected in order for them to be satisfied, or above what they expected. So the one thing I read in the textbook that I really liked was that every customer has certain expectations about service, which may come from word of mouth, personal needs, group needs, past experiences, and or external communication. So there's a lot of things that go into this expected level of service. So we have to make sure that when we go through all of the different levels of service or their contacts, that we're meeting it at each different level. So when we're talking about the service delivery or the quality, that type of thing, we have to make sure that we're meeting what our customers are expecting. I don't know if I can get this slide done before my time's up on this video thing. I still only get 15 minutes to record each session. So this was another great chart of measuring the importance of attributes to clients. So when they're doing surveys and measuring service quality, they are looking at what the most important parts are. So that quadrant A on this graph here, you have to make sure that this is where you're concentrating. This is where most of people see the value of your product. Okay, I'll be back with another video in a moment.